Okay, I haven't posted in a few days, so I thought I would give you all an update on all of the things, the fitness journey, the crafts that I'm doing, and then, of course, like my spiritual journey. So, fitness journey last week was week one for me and probably most of people in the world. Um, I lost a total of 7.25 inches all over. I lost an inch and a half on my upper waist, inch and a half on my lower waist, and 2.25 inches on my hips. And then I think it was like a half inch off my arms, a half inch off one thigh, and a whole inch off the other. The first week, I always expect the biggest drop. That's usually like, even if you're weighing yourself, that's when you're going to get your biggest drops because typically you've changed your eating habits drastically. I know for me, we were eating out at least once a day. And so, like, now we're eating house food. So, we're going to have water loss just from that one simple change all on its own. I was so sore last week, like the beginning of the week, I felt like I needed a body cast. um, but then later on in the week, it was just my feet because I had decided to jump rope, which I did jump rope again yesterday, and my feet are still sore, but they're nowhere near as sore as they were. Gave myself plantar fasciitis. Anyway, so moving right along, this week's going to be the same as last week, and then hopefully next week I can really get into my heavy lifts, and then I'll have more interesting videos to show you. I personally don't really like watching people work out, but other people do. I don't know. So I'm just posting whatever, and you guys just have to let me know what you like, what you don't like. So that's my fitness journey in a nutshell. I would like to start doing like vlogs on YouTube, but I have not been so good about doing that. Anyway, so we got crafts. I completed my little Sophia doll. She's in the seated position because I had her over there sitting with my Snoop Dogg. Look at this hair. Isn't that hilarious? Her little ears. She's so cute. I gave her lips and eyelids because the original pattern um gave her a black line for her mouth, and I wanted to give her lips. Which Sophia's not much for smiling, so I didn't give her teeth, you know? Anyway, so she got a closed lip grin, if you will. I think she's adorable. Look at her little purse. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I have her in the seated position. She will stand. Stand her up like this. She's got wire in her arms, legs, and her entire body. Other crafts I'm working on. I'm currently working on Dorothy from the Golden Girls as well. I need to get some like thicker yarn for her hair because I don't have any. So I moved on. So now she's just a work in progress. And I've moved on to a blanket for my son, um, which there's not much to show you right now, so I don't have it to show you. But I have a lot more. I have his blanket working. When I'm done with it, I have a lot more blankets that I actually want to do. I guess I'm going to be the blanket lady. Now moving on to the good stuff, the Bible study stuff. Most recently, I finished Second Corinthians and I'm started working on Galatians. There is a couple verses that like really stuck out to me. Well, there's a lot of verses that stuck out to me, but if we're talking about Second Corinthians, the biggest one that stuck out to me was, and he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly I will rather boast in my infirmities than that the power of Christ may rest upon me." And then the next verse goes in to say, "When I am weak, then I am strong." And that really resonated with me because over the last 3 years, I have really been going through not only mental things, but also a few physical things. And I have just been like praying that God will take it away. And, some things it's just saying like, this is Second Corinthians 12:10. Therefore, I take pleasure in my infirmities, in reproaches and needs, in persecutions and distress for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And I think about that, and it's really, honestly, it's really true because I don't think I ever would have turned to Christ, or not, I can't say ever, but I don't think I would have turned to Christ in the way that I did if I wasn't so desperate and so weak that I just couldn't carry myself anymore. And the humans in my life, you can't, this is going to sound bad, but it's the truth. You can't depend on other humans for your happiness, for your security, and for your strength. You can't. So that's where we fall on God. And it really took, I'm hard headed, and it really took me hitting rock bottom mentally for me to be able to like surrender, because I am a tough nugget. Anyway, so that was for my benefit. The misery was for my ministry. So we're going to rest in that. I have so much more written down for Second Corinthians, but that was the one that was really like I really wanted to talk about. And then for Galatians, I have written down Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. And that is one really interesting thing about being saved. It's like sometimes being saved and trying to live your life for God, you're not even sure if you're doing it right or good enough or whatever. And so you're like, am I even saved? Like, you do question that. I know I'm not the only one that questions that, but you know that you are. And I've gotten confirmation from my pastor on this as well, not directly, but just through his sermons, that once Christ overcomes you and you are truly born again, you will do an instant change, an instant 180. It's hilarious because when this first happened to me, I was like, do I have a brain tumor? Like, what is going on? Like, what is happening to me? But no, it was the power of Christ, baby. Came right on through, kicked in my door, because I needed him, and I knew that I needed him. I couldn't carry on the way that I was. So anyway, yeah, I have literally died to myself, and now it's Christ who lives in me. And so I try to think about that a lot of times when, the temptation or whatever you want to call it slips in. And I'm like, if Jesus was sitting right beside me, how would I act? And that's the way that I need to carry myself accordingly. We can't control every single thought that comes through our mind, but we can observe it, let it go, and it's not so much what sneaks in, it's what you do with it. So, personal opinion. That's just the way I understand it at this time. Anyway, I think that's about it for now, and I will come back with more updates and more chats when I have something to talk about.